The topic today is America First is not Christian.
What do you mean by Christian? I don't know what specific denomination you subscribe to.
I would say anybody that agrees to the Apostles' Creed fundamentally is typically viewed as Christian. So Protestants, Catholics typically do. I think some sects of Mormon also appeal to the Apostles' Creed. Eastern Orthodox, you are America First, I'm assuming,
yes,
since you agreed to it. But you're also a Christian nationalist.
Yes.
Okay, square that circle for me. What exactly is America First about being a Christian nationalist?
Well, the question is being America First Christian? I would argue that it 100% is, and we can look at St. Thomas Aquinas' idea of ordered love, meaning you have a responsibility to the people closest to you. So just like it's immoral if you were to feed your neighbor's kids while your own kids go hungry, it's equally immoral to support policies that harm your country's people but benefit those from other countries. And this has been explained in the Catechism as well. So.
That's really weird. So you correct me if I'm wrong about the Bible. My understanding is that God gave up godliness to come down to earth, right? He sacrificed it.
No, he did not. Jesus is also a God and man.
Yeah, but he also became man, right? I mean, do you want me to just pull up the verse for you? God's sacrificial love. We can just go there if you want to.
I understand that Jesus is fully God and fully man, yes.
Okay, great. So God sacrificed by coming down. In fact, he sacrificed so much that he died for not just his friends, not just white Americans, but for, I'm assuming, the world, right?
Yes.
Okay, so sacrificial love seems to be a pretty fundamental piece of Christian ethos. Would you not agree?
Yeah, are you going to respond to my claim that ordered love is virtuous? What do you think? If I were to feed my neighbor's kids, but my own kids went hungry, do you think that's virtuous because you're loving your neighbor's kids?
It depends on if you're feeling that you're called to do so, right? I would imagine that God would probably say that you would split it, right? I don't know in what world. I'd be like, I have one loaf of bread. I can't possibly figure out fractions and just give all of it away.
Poor people exist, so yeah, that is definitely a scenario.
I don't know how that's a rebuttal. You're right. Poor people do exist. Thank you. Rich people exist. Yes. White people exist. I don't know why I'm
saying that's not a possible. There is quite literally a Bible verse that says.
All right, if I have a loaf of bread.
If you're going to cite the Bible, there's a Bible verse that quite literally says that if you were to take care of someone else's child before your own, you are worse than an unbelievable.
Cite where that's from.
It's in 1 Timothy something. I don't remember.
Okay, I'm sure that's there.
Why is it? It is. You guys can look it up. That's a verse.
Sure. So here's one of the issues, right? Is you're creating this world where essentially I have a loaf of bread, and I'm going, actually, I'm going to give none of this. But the America First, look at America right now, right? America doesn't go, we're actually going to spend zero money on Americans. We're not going to have welfare. We actually do have these things. And then we also do things like U.S. aid, which I imagine you're opposed to. And so the whole issue with being a Christian is there is a fundamental piece, which is caretaking of others, right? If you want to look, for example, I'm sure you know this. Do you know the parable of the Good Samaritan?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what happens in the Good Samaritan?
Why are you? Yes, I understand. If someone is suffering, you can help them out, but there is a certain amount of resources that America has. If we were to give away all of our resources to other countries and our own people starve,
because nobody is saying give away all of our resources.
There is a limited amount of resources, yes.
That is true.
Just like there is on a familial level, there also is when it comes to your nation.
Do you think that what I'm advocating for when I'm saying that America First, so when I say America First is unchristian, is because fundamentally what it does is it looks at every resource that America has. The number one economy in the world, right? Trillions. It's worth trillions of dollars a year. And it says, you know what? We can't help others. It has to fundamentally be about us all the time. Not only is this stupid foreign policy, because soft power is incredibly important and it weakens our allyships, but on top of this, it's fundamentally selfish. What you're saying is, I know I have a lot, but nobody else can have any of mine. That's not Christian. I'm not saying America should bankrupt itself and give away all of its money and then live in the gutter. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that America First supports the banishing of U.S. aid. It supports not helping Ukraine in the war. That to me is both fundamentally selfish and unchristian.
So what I think that America First is about is simply, it doesn't mean we can't help other countries or even other people who live outside of America.
Do you support the banning of U.S. aid?
Can I finish, please?
Do you support the banning of U.S. aid?
Can I finish what I was saying?
You can, but I'm just going to ask you the same question.
That we put American interests first. That's what it means. It
Yeah, be
means that we are
selfish.
not prioritizing.
I hear you. Be selfish. I hear you.
So even with Ukraine, I mean, even if I'm not even fully against sending any money or helping out Ukraine at all, because if we were to help Ukraine and that helps America, I'm fine with that. But
So
I
you
don't
will
want,
only
I don't
help
want
Ukraine
America-
if it helps you. Very Christian, by the way. Look,
Well,
I'll be
yes.
generous to you, but only if
On a
fundamentally it's good for me, guys.
on a
You know,
foreign
gotta get that money.
on a foreign policy level, why would I support foreign policy that is bad for America? Like, what are you trying to say?
Why would supporting
I
Ukraine be
support
bad for America?
Foreign policy that is good for America. I'm fine with supporting
How is
Ukraine.
U.S. aid bad for America?
I think it would depend on the specific U.S. aid. Like,
Okay, how is giving malaria injections to the poorest in Africa, which has been banned, by the way?
we have poor
Why is
people
that bad?
here in America. Like, would you rather money go to people in another country or
Do we
money
have
go to people in
welfare?
America?
Do we have welfare?
Yes.
Do you support? Wait, hold on. Do you support welfare?
I support, in certain situations.
Like food stamps?
Sure.
You're for people getting food stamps?
Yeah, sure, in certain situations. I'm not fully
What are the
against it.
situations you would not allow people to get food stamps?
If they're just, if they don't have a disability, if they're not working a significant hours, if they're not trying to find a job, I don't see why we should pay for them. But
So, so a lot of people on food stamps are like war vets and stuff like that. Are you for supporting war vets? Are you for helping them in that way?
this is kind of going, okay, so you support
She's not gonna
foreign
answer the question.
Just to clarify your position, you are okay with us having foreign policy that does not directly benefit America. Is that your position?
So,
Because I was
don't-
saying I
can
support
you
American
imagine
foreign
how-
policy that
how is-
benefits America. That's my position. What's your position? Do you support
how
American
is
foreign
U.S.
policy?
aid? How is U.S. aid bad for America?
How
is
does
it
it
not
benefit
benefiting
America? How would
Well, in large part, when you help African countries with like some of the most destitute issues that they have, those countries tend to be warmer towards America. So that, for example, if you need to establish a military outpost, which is very important in wars, by the way, you have these countries good relationships where you might be able to establish an embassy and be able to go there. U.S. aid is not only just good practically, it's also morally good, because guess what? Children in Africa dying because of malaria when we can just help them is bad, actually. And if America, for example,
Okay, that's not
after
saying
U.S.
that
aid, do you know how many people died after U.S. aid got ended?
No.
600,000, 2/3 of which were children, by the way. Not very
Okay.
Christian of us.
Okay.
But you support that.
I support American policies that benefit America.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I support.
I gotcha.
And I don't know how you're saying that's incompatible with Christianity.
Because Christians
That's very
shouldn't
weird.
be fundamentally oriented by being selfish. You're saying, well,
No,
I
it's
might
not
help
selfish.
these poor people, but only if I know that it's going to help me first.
if
Very
I'm
Christian, by the way.
patriotic- If I'm patriotic and I say, I care about Americans, I support policies that are going to help
Who are you talking
Americans
to?
more than everybody else. The
Are you talking to
audience.
me or are you talking to them?
I'm talking to them, yes.
Why? I'm talking to you. I'm your debate opponent.
If I support policies that
she's
are
gotta
going to
have a
place
pundit.
American interests first and help Americans, doesn't mean we can't help anyone else, but I care about Americans more
So
than
did
others
Christ
because I'm American.
allow his son to
That's
die because it was
not
good for him?
unchristian.
Did Christ allow his son to die because it was just good for him?
No, he loved others, and I think we should love others too.
Would you say it was actually
I'm not
selfless?
I'm not loving my fellow countryman if I care about someone on the other side of the world
Why
more
can't you
than
just
them.
care about both? I feel like I can both support welfare within
You
my
can.
state. Of course I can. We do it right now.
We
I
have
can
a-
support.
we only have a limited amount of resources, and, when
And
it
yet
comes to-
America was able to both manage a welfare state and U.S. aid.
So where's your limit? Where's your limit? How about that? Where's your limit for helping others? Do you have one? Like when it comes to America sending our money overseas, like do you have a limit? Like there's a certain point where it's at a detriment to America, right? Would you
You
not
would have
agree
to
with that?
establish the detriment. I mean, the amount of money that America would have to be sending overseas that would actually be detrimental. One of the problems with this is, again, your lack of foreign policy knowledge. For example, why is it good for America to send weaponry to Ukraine? Do you know why?
I think it's good because Ukraine can be an ally
Why is
in
that
some
good
ways.
for-
And I see Ukraine as part of sort of an American outpost right now. I support American imperialism, so I would be okay with that.
Right. So when you're asking for like the sliding scale of like how much is too much, it's like you're fundamentally not even understanding the way that foreign policy exchange happens, which is still devoid from the Christian argument, for example, which would say, as a good Samaritan, what did he do? He pulled over, he gave him his wine and oil, and he paid for everything.
Yeah,
and Christ lauded that
we should do
individual.
that. I think we should do that. If you
Except
come
to poor
across
children in
if you come
Africa getting
across
malaria.
Somebody on the street who needs something, help them out. That's good on an individual level, but it doesn't work with politics. Our nation's policies have to prioritize. It's like our nation has to help us out.
So first of all, that's still just bad foreign policy. There's a reason why all Western democracies have created this like exchangement
I think
rate.
you're for some reason thinking I don't support backing Ukraine when I have said multiple times that
Do you
I'm
support
fine with
U.S.
that.
aid?
What?
U.S. aid. I've asked you a million times. Do you support U.S. aid?
Probably not. Like, I don't know what
Probably
every single
not. Exactly.
and
why would you?
to,
and the only reason you support Ukraine is because it benefits us.
I would support U.S. aid if it benefits America in some way.
Yeah, this is like the unchristian piece, right? Like, if
No,
you're
it's
just a
not.
secularist who's like, honestly,
Wait.
I'm selfish. As long as it benefits me,
Wait,
then
sorry.
I'm happy.
Are
that
you
would
even
be
American?
fine.
Wait a second.
That would
Are
be
you even
fine.
American?
That
Are
would
you
be
American?
fine. No, I'm Canadian.
Oh, okay. So that's why I don't care about putting America first. You're Canadian.
You don't even understand your own foreign policy. That's not a dunk like you think it is. I can assure you,
Are
my
you
friend,
Canada first?
if a Canadian understands your politics better than you do, that's a dunk on you.
I support you going back to Canada and being Canada first over there, and I'm going to be America first here.
I'm a legal immigrant of America. Is that a problem for you? Don't clap, please.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I support a moratorium right now, so
Well, I'm white, so that's a good one, right?
I'll let you stay. It's okay.
Well, are you happy? Are you okay with me being an immigrant in your country?
I just said I'll let you stay. Sure.
I don't. Okay.
We'll
I
take
don't
a
even know
few
what answer
from
that
Canada.
is.
That's fine, I guess.
Okay. So if we want to go back, for example, U.S. generosity is the leading form of global health and humanitarian relief. USAID saves lives by preventing HIV, preventing AIDS, disrupting labor issues.
on the other side of the world, we have people with AIDS here.
Why, as a nation who was born on you would probably argue, Christian values, why would a nation develop for centuries to have a policy of understanding and helping others, not just within our borders, but outside of it? And now you, as a great, smart Christian nationalist, comes along and says, actually, it's more Christian to only care about Americans, because I think somewhere in the Bible, God says God loved everyone, but actually he only liked Americans, right? I think it's probably Galatians 3:28. Let's see. There is both Greek and non-Greek, nor Jew, nor branded or free, whole or female, for one of you, all in one Christ.
Have you heard of the concept of ordered love?
Yeah, of course.
So do you agree with that?
It depends. What does this even mean? In what context?
In the context, like I mentioned before, caring for your family before other people.
So again, it depends on what we mean. Like if I say neglect your family, well, why are you laughing? Of course, right? If you say, should you neglect your family? No, obviously not. But the issue is that
what if you're neglecting your family to help other people? Is that justified in your?
Of course not.
Okay, so
I just said neglect is bad. But the issue is the America First paradigm acts like this is a zero-sum game, right? The idea that you have to like put America first and foremost, while, as you said, is maybe a good idea if all you care about is being greedy and concerned with your own self. But again, you're a Christian. Christians should not be fundamentally focused on only helping others because it benefits them, which is what you said. You said, I'll help them, but only if it benefits me. There's not a single fucking thing that's Christian about that, right? Christianity is fundamentally about generosity to others. It's about looking at people and seeing them with love. It's about looking past the borders and saying, you are loved because God made you, not because you're American, not because you're white. That's Christian. And what you're doing, you can have these principles, but you don't for a second get to pretend that it's Christian.
I think it's just like odd that you come here from Canada to America and say, I want your country to support foreign policy that is detrimental, or economic policy or immigration policy
Didn't say it's
that hurts
detrimental.
America,
That
but
never
helps
happened.
other countries. And I find that very strange.
She's again,
and I think
you're
this
just
is
not
like
talking
why,
to me. Why
I
are you
think we need
talking
to like
me?
take a look at our immigration system and like be like,
Sarah,
what are we doing here?
If your best dunk is, aren't you Canadian, but I'm still beating you on understanding of American foreign policy, that's not it.
But you quite literally go to another country and tell them you need to support policies.
Can you imagine
would help
that if in
my
Canada
country
I
and
might
your
have the
country?
same predilection? Do you think that I think Canada should be only Canada first?
You should, yeah. I think you should.
Sorry, I'll ask you my question again.
I support
Do you think that my
Canadians
predisposition
being
is that if I
Canada
went to
first.
Canada, I'd just be
I
Canada
support
first?
French being French first. I support Ethiopians being
look,
Ethiopia
you've
first.
made it clear you're selfish. We get it.
No,
you
that's-
only help others if it benefits you. You've made that very clear from the beginning. USAID, will I stop malaria? Will I stop children in Africa from dying? Well, does it benefit us? I'm a Christian, by the way. God's love is awesome.
Do you think that people in Japan are like, oh, I want policies that hurt Japan and help, like,
What's hurting
Nigeria
America
or
about
something?
USAID? What's hurting America about USAID?
Sending our billions of our tax dollars to people?
How is that hurting America?
Because that money could go to our people and
Couldn't you
strengthen
say the
our
same thing
country.
about Ukrainian, all the arms that we're sending them? Why are we sending them arms? Shouldn't we keep it for ourselves?
Well, because
we might need it.
Well, because there's foreign policy, like you mentioned, like how supporting Ukraine could in turn benefit America because they're an ally.
Yeah, so you're talking one side of your mouth and you're insisting that the policy that I'm suggesting is detrimental, but then you again outline how all of the policies I've listed here are both practical.
Can be beneficial
and on the other side of your mouth, you're trying to be like, well, don't you think that it would be bad to neglect your family? Yeah, it's bad to neglect your family. They're like doing like the bottom barrel, like, don't you think rape is bad? Yeah, we've gotten there. The issue is that fractions exist and things like trillions of dollars exist, which is why we had US aid. It's why we had this foreign policy. Not only did we have this foreign policy because it's good for America, but as a Christian, I would like to support it if we can afford it because it's the right thing to do.
Do you want to move to immigration?
No, we're not here to debate immigration. We're here to debate America First is Christian.
That's part of the America First policy, right? So I support an America First.
She's got to go to brown people when in trouble. She's like, but brown people are kind of weird, right?
You can calm down. It's okay. I support an America First policy that benefits Americans over people from foreign nations. And I think that should be reflected in our immigration policy too. So for instance, with the working class, we've lost so much of our industrial jobs because they've been sent the free trade issue, but we've been sending so much of our jobs overseas. And in the same way, because we've been letting so many people flooding the borders, it's a lot harder for the working class to find jobs.
So in 2017, there was a tariff imposed on the steel manufacturing industry to try to bring steel manufacturing back to America. Do you know what it did for American jobs in steel manufacturing? Didn't think so. What it did is it shrunk jobs. The reason that we export labor is because Americans are paid for their time, not for their labor, whereas overseas it's typically the end product of their labor. Now, you and I could have a long, lengthy conversation about how that's probably bad, but that would be a liberal talking point, not a conservative talking point. And while I might have issues with the way that we economically handle other countries, insofar as we often take advantage of their poverty, which I think is not good, the reason that we export labor like this is because it's fundamentally cheaper.
It's cheaper for corporations, yes, but it ends up hurting American workers because their wages have been steadily
And you should
declining.
get on my side and say that we should have actual, like, effective policy to hold corporations responsible for the way that they decimate American lives.
I agree with that. Why are you assuming
so
what
you're
my
for, like,
position
taxing corporations more?
Sure. I'm also for closed borders. I'm also for, like, reshoring our manufacturing. I'm also for policies that support American workers rather than immigrants.
Do you know why H-1Bs are so important to let's focus on one industry, cybersecurity. Do you know anything about the cybersecurity industry?
Not that much. No.
Okay. Okay, let's just take this more broadly. Do you know why H-1Bs are so valued in America and why your president doesn't want to get rid of them?
Because Indians do work for cheaper, and they also usually are able to work longer hours because their jobs are tied to their visas. So they're much easier to be abused by their employers, and that's why. Yes.
So that's one reason.
So it's actually good for corporations, but it's not good for all the people we told to get STEM degrees who now went to Silicon Valley and can't get a job because they're too expensive.
That's not what's happening in Silicon Valley, and why that's not why the unemployment issue. The reason that there's an unemployment issue is because there's a massive staffing bubble that happened during COVID in particularly soft industries like cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, one of the reasons why H-1Bs are so essential for that industry is because the level of training, you basically need to have, like, your last certification needs to be updated within, like, the last year or two. So a lot of American trained people, they just don't have it. We actually cannot fill jobs at high levels. So the reason we have H-1Bs is we pull the people over so that they can fill these jobs. And now I agree with some of the abuses that happen to these individuals. But again, this is a liberal talking point. I don't like that. I would like to see things like better hours managed and better equal pay, which actually Biden suggested doing a lot of these things. But you guys shut down the immigration bill because you wanted to win an election. You don't actually want to solve your problems.
All right, and that wraps up this debate. Holy hell, that was spicy. spicy. That was really good. That was one of our best yet. Wow.